Good afternoon, everyone. We are Team 3, and we're here today to talk about strategic natural resource consultants. The island economy is a resource-based, and strategic is catered to that. On the island, they have 3 locations. The first one is Port McNeill, which was founded in 2011 by the original 2 owners. In 2005, they expanded to Campbell River. In 2008, there's the forestry. The forestry had a downturn because of the U.S. housing market. In 2010, Strategic recovered because forestry recovered, as well as they took on a utilities project. And in 2011, Strategic expanded again into the Nanaimo office. In 2013, they had layoffs and they downsized. Currently, in 2014, they sit at around 120 employees. Before we go too much further, I'd like to give an outline of where we're headed today. I just gave you a little bit about the location and size, but we're going to talk about what Strategic's goals are, and we're going to look at their structure to see if their structure matches their goals. We're also going to look at the culture and the group dynamics. We did things a little bit differently. We're going to look at uncertainty last, as well as the problem ID. So Strategic's goals, their slogan is they're the preferred team to work with. So that encompasses 3 things for them. The first one is their clients, they have their employees, and they have their community. For their clients, as they're a consultant, they're only as strong as their relationship with their clients. They rely on their clients for revenue, so they need good relationships with them. Their employees, they also need really strong employees because their employees are doing the service. And third one is community. They found that because they tend to be in rural locations, they really need strong ties to their community, and their clients actually respect them and give them extra value for that. So another one of their goals is stability. They'd like to build a really strong reputation in the next little bit. As they've expanded fast, that might be one thing that it's been tarnished recently. Another one they'd like to work on is diversity, breaking outside of the traditional forestry realm. In 2013, they had a name change from Strategic Forest Management to Strategic Natural Resources to reflect their expanding scope of services. They'd also like to take on projects that involve multiple services, and we'll get more into that of how they're going to do that. So yeah, as I said, forestry was their go-to originally, but they're looking to explore more into mining, energy, transportation, and environmental conservation. The company is structured with 7 business lines based on the services they offer, which are timber development and engineering, forest land management, timber valuation, incident management, biology and environmental, wilderness recreation. Then they have a 7th business line, GIS, which is mapping. GIS is a little bit different because it works internally, whereas the other 6 tend to be external. They all operate as profit centers, so yeah, they all need to make money. So we have a look at the structure there. There's the 2 owners on the top, and they have the COO, Kent. Then you have HR, and you have an accountant, and you have a health and safety officer that all report to the COO. As we were saying, you have the 6 business lines there on the top, and then off to the side is GIS. As GIS does 80% of their work is internal for the company.
Thank you, Colin. So as we just said, using our analysis for size and structure, we were able to determine that this company is currently in stage 3 of growth. It means that the company have completed the formalization steps. One of the steps is division of labor. As you just saw, there's 7 sectors of the company dealing with targeting different environments. That formalization led to performance targets in the system that allows reward systems for employees who succeed to help the company improve its logistics and income. Obviously, formalization allows innovation, efficiency, and the last 2 important steps, business sustainability with in-depth skill development. If we look at the formalization, it was very interesting for us to discover that innovation was underlying culture of this company. They learned that if they innovate, if they will be at the top of their competition to be more in entrepreneurial spirit, they will be able to develop new skills more effectively. Now, what about previous stage number 2? Well, it never disappeared completely. In fact, it's more like a family-like structure within each department. As you saw from the structure, there is a team lead and the crew. Well, that relationship of crew between each other was important when the company started up as entrepreneurs. They needed, as consultants, to build this relationship with the clients. So keeping this underlying stage allows Strategic to create a client-personal relationship through annual fishing trips and through annual hunting trips. Well, what do we know more? Creating a good client interaction consultant, analyzing structure, analyzing strategy. Well, we decided that maybe this company does fit in terms of finances. Maybe this company does allows financial fit where personal relationship brings the money for the environment, goals, and structure and size fits it correctly. So this cannot disappear at this point. What about project flow? Well, it's a consulting company. It needs to pick up a project. Now we have established a relationship with the clients. We need to develop a method other than the formal structure. So this is underlying process framework, where, as Colin had mentioned, GIS plays an important role assisting every project to success. Now, every department will pick up a project from start to end, complete this portion, and then it's able to pass it on to the next department if it's needed to. Well, strategic wasn't just called randomly by its name, it is a strategy. This is a strategy to pass on projects to completion, to make sure that they succeed.
When we were interviewing Strategic, we identified 3 groups that kept coming up. The first one was the business line managers. Each department has a business line manager, and once a month they get together with the 7 business line managers, the COO, and the owners. And they get together and they plan, and they have an outlook on what's coming up in the upcoming month and see where they can team up to meet efficiencies. The second group dynamic we found is the departments themselves. They have quite the culture. As you can see in this picture here, they're all dressed similar. They get together. The different departments do it differently based on size, but they try to get together at one point or another, frequently just to talk about goals and have uniform training. And the third dynamic, the group, I think is the most important one, is the teams themselves. They can range from 2 to 8 people. And these are the people that are out in the woods making Strategic's bottom line go. They're the people that really drive Strategic. To do this, they do a lot of team building, and they also do crew analysis to make sure the right people are on the right projects. When we were looking at Strategic, we did 8 interviews, and in every single interview, there seemed to be a common theme. The timber development and engineering was talked about quite a bit. It turns out they have around 60% of the employees in the company are under TD&E. The nature of the contracts also often means that TD&E is the first crew into the woods. So they acquire all the information, and then they have to pass it along to the other business lines. TD&E often gets the contracts, and the other business lines support them. So there tends to be a dependency on timber development and engineering. Therefore, we believe TD&E has the most power within the organization. However, we do not see this as a conflict. We believe that TD&E is fairly responsible with their power. You can see they're structured slightly different than the other business lines in that they have project managers. They have 4 project managers in place that just help relieve some pressure from the business line manager, and it just relays information down to the lower level employees. Another conflict we realized is among the lower level employees. A lot of their work tends to be camp oriented, or some of it's local. It seemed to be an issue that some employees were consistently going to camp and other employees were local without any differentiation in pay.
Thank you, Colin. So I'm going to talk about the uncertainty involved in external climate that company operates in, and a strategy the company implements to tackle these uncertainties. So first is uncertainty economy. In 2009, when financial crisis happened, many businesses were lost due to liquidity crunch. To ensure that this doesn't happen to the company diversifies its line of operation. So in 2009, while forestry departments suffered huge losses, they were still getting contracts for the utility departments. Seasonality of the business, snow in winter, wildfire during summer slows down the business process sometimes. To ensure that it doesn't happen, the company forecasts and plans so that most of the work is done in advance. So they try to get as much of office work done during winters and the field work done during the summers. The majority of the revenue comes from bidding on contracts, but there's no guarantee that they're going to win the contract. So to ensure that they have inflow of cash, they build strong relationship with other potential clients. So if a bidding process falls out, they can always reach out to these people to get contracts. The other issue is with changing technology. Changing technology may render their current technology obsolete, and they may not have skills and knowledge to use the latest technology. So they have an IT department in place which ensures that the company keeps up with the latest technology, and the employees receive timely training to learn how to use the existing technology in order to be more competitive in the industry. From our analysis of the company, we found out that the level of uncertainty is minimum, complexity is low, and stability is high. And although the company has a functional structure, it's organic and flexible to keep up with the latest trend. Now I'm going to highlight some of the issues that the company is facing and with some recommendation. So first is staff turnover, which is 25%. And as an accountant, I can tell you it's pretty bad. Yeah. So most of the staff turnover happens in the lower tier, which is 65% of the total workforce, which mainly comprises of the crew. The reason why people in this tier leave the company because the upper tiers are pretty saturated, so there's no room for them to go up the corporate, move up the corporate ladder. So what we recommend is employee diversification. From the nature of the business, it's not possible for the crew to move up, but what company can provide them is to expand their experience by allowing them to work in different line of work. And also, a company can provide monetary incentive in terms of camp bonuses. Now, the next issue arises from staff turnover is trust issues. Now, this company recently grew exponentially, and they were hiring some new employees, and staff turnover resulted in different culture. That resulted in trust issue. In 2013 there was a major layoff, and that resulted in trust issues. The employees had a sense of insecurity that translated into low motivation and low efficiency. So as we learned from Elango that trust is a lubricant and glue that sticks the organization together and ensures smooth functioning. So how can we recommend company to have the trust at the optimum level? So we did some boundary spanning and learned about German work culture, and we found the term Kurzarbeit. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but what it means is short-term program. What it tells you that you don't lay off your employees in a time of crisis. You retain them, you train them. By doing so, you're not losing out your skilled employees, and this develops a strong sense of loyalty and motivation among employees, and that translates into low cost in the long run and high productivity. Also, the company must ensure there's a positive flow of information from top management to the lower tier of the company.
Another issue we identified, I think, is quite common among companies that have multiple branches in different geographical locations, is there's subcultures within the different offices. There almost seems to be there's something competitive going on between the offices where they don't like to share information, and that leads to delays and inefficiencies. So to fix that, we believe there needs to be a better, more frequent company-wide events where the employees actually engage and get to know each other. We also believe the business line managers need to have face-to-face interactions with the lower level employees. Technology is great for communication, but we believe they become over-reliant on it. They use Skype and they use email too frequently, and they need to actually, get in their car, drive up, and talk to the other employees to build stronger relationships. Fourth and final problem we identified is project integration. As Strategic goes from doing their functional, one silo projects, they're getting into these projects that encompass 4 or 5 of the different departments. So they need to coordinate better. Currently they seem to have inefficiencies and a lack of synergy. To do this, we suggest that they implement a project manager. The single project manager he's the only one who deals with the client, so he knows exactly what the client expectations are, and he can pass on these requirements to the lower level employees. This can result in a better allocation of resources and economy of scale. So in conclusion, we believe strategic structure is a good fit for their company goals. In 2009, when they did form these business lines, they actually had outside consultants come in to help them form it. In 2013, they brought in they hired a COO who actually did do the layoffs, but they believe it has made the company stronger. So we do believe strategic is the preferred team to work with.